everyone, welcome back again to the channel. Today we're back on GT Sport and we're back with another race at Brands Hatch, and there's a big reason why I'm doing this second race here. It was because this lobby was full of very fast drivers. You can see there in the top 10 there was so many good big names. Again, the guy in front of us was one of the main drivers at the Nürburgring event that did really well in that, and he really did. I think it was a Brazil race in the road cars where he came back through the field and won the race in one of the ones, whether it was the one that got restarted, I'm not too sure, but I think all the way down to P13 was in the 1:22 in qualifying. A really insane grid here, and some real big points up for grabs in terms of your DR rating. So starting the race, you can see there we're in P2, trying to stay with Zed Kip, I think his name is, and he had picked the Nissan GTR. It just shows you that the BOP is okay on this game because there is other cars that you can go. It's just that I think for the qualifying the Porsche was probably a bit better, but in race trim it's not necessarily the best car. The Nissan GTR, as far as I know, has very good straight line speed and also reasonably good fuel saving ability, as you're going to probably see in this race. You can see there cars behind me, we've got Ascaro in the food, we've got Pompunku, all big names in this grid. You can see V Cristiano as well was in this grid. Some really fast drivers all the way through the field, and it was insane that I think a 1:23.1 in qualifying would have put you P13 or 14 on the grid. I think it went down to 23.3 was P18 or something like that. So really shows you this was just a daily race. This isn't an FIA race, this is just a daily race. As you can see there, we're trying to put some pressure on Zed Kip in P1. This was my first race back on in the night. I didn't really do any practicing, I just went back on, which probably did affect. If you watched the race we did the other day, you could see I was in the 23s constantly, and this race I wasn't probably as warmed up for, because in the first race I uploaded I had been doing the qualifying for about maybe an hour, getting my 1:22.4, and went straight to the race, so I was really in tune with the track of how to get the limits out of it. This race is a bit different, we've got a lot stronger drivers in there. I can't really push as hard because I've got Nissan in front of me, I've got someone behind me that I've got to constantly look in my mirror for. You can see there Papunku having a real look on the inside there, and again he's going to have a little look on the inside into this corner. He has a little look, but again this is the great thing about racing, the top drivers, they don't make silly moves very often. You can see there he took a look, realised it wasn't on. I didn't feel threatened that he would go for that move, so I stuck to my normal line because I have trust that he's not going to make a daft move into that corner, and he didn't. He goes back into his normal racing line and tucks in our slipstream, as we're now trying to put some pressure on the lead. You can see there tucked right up behind that Nissan GTR, trying to see if we can find a way past, but the Porsche unfortunately lacks a bit of straight line speed, and that Nissan had amazing straight line speed. You can just see how much it pulls on the straights, so it was really hard to get anywhere near. Through the corners I felt reasonably comfortable getting close to the Nissan, but then as soon as it came to the straights, I had to actually rev the car a bit more because I was trying to stay with him on the straight so that I could make a move in the corner somewhere. So I think I was using a little bit more fuel than what I would have liked in this early stages. You would have watched me in the other race where I was doing a bit more fuel saving and trying to judge the fuel very well, you know, to race that, the other guy we were racing in that race. But this one is a little bit different. We've got a lot tougher competition in this race. You know, one mistake and you're going to be dropping down the grid to like P8 or 9. It's really close racing, and this is why I wanted to upload this race. You can just see how close it is. We've got P3 in our mirrors. You can see him on the video camera behind, having a little look around. You can see we go through that sector on a purple sector. You can see I had potential to do some really good laps, but you can see my first lap was a 24.4 because obviously with this Nissan in front of us, we're trying to rev the car on the straights, but then on the corners we're catching, and then when someone's in front of you, you can't always catch your lines perfectly. And like I say, I hadn't been on to practice, like in the first race I'd been doing the qualifying for about an hour, so I was fully in tune with the track and I was really like in the rhythm of it. But we're going through that sector on a purple sector again, so it was looking like a 1:23 this lap as we go through these really fast right-handers. You can see how much closing I can close up on that Nissan, but then when he puts the power down, that Nissan really has some go in it. You can see it's got so much power and it seems to handle reasonably well. I'm not sure what it's like through the corner. I've never really driven that car, so it'd be interesting to try. As you can see there, Zed Kip has a massive moment on the corner. I'm going to have a little look now. We're going to jump through to behind. I go to look that way, I have to lift off at this point because I can't really make a move, so we lost a bit of time there on this lap. The lap that would have probably been a reasonable lap, but had to lift off and back out of that, and then I'm back in the slipstream, and you can just visually see I'm revving this car as hard as I can because I wanted to get as close to make a move as I could, but I can't do anything with that Nissan. It's just too fast in a straight line, and I've then just got to just tuck back into that slipstream and try and find another way past him. You can see again in the braking zone I tried to push really close, trying to see if I can stay with him on the straight so that when we come to the corners I can really push hard through the corners. I wasn't really doing as much fuel saving as I really should have been at this point in the race. I was doing a little bit, managing it a very little bit, slight, but not as much as I would have liked. As you can see now, just look how close this race is. P1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all within one screenshot on the replay camera. It really does show you the quality of drivers in this race. As you can see there, Oscaro in P4. I know what he tends to save a lot of fuel in the first stint in the food, and then he goes really aggressive in the last stint. So I was aware of that behind me. I could see him in my mirrors still. I knew he was behind me. I could see him on the obviously the left hand side where it shows you all the names, so I knew he was still going to be very much in this race, and it was going to be a great battle all the way to the end. I know Zed Kip, I had a feeling that he would have been doing severe fuel saving, because I think I've mentioned it in previous videos. His ability to fuel save and maintain speed in a race is immense, and this is why I was confused at the live event that he didn't do more fuel saving, because he is one of the best I've ever seen at maintaining speed and fuel saving. He's really good at it, and this is where at this point in the race I kind of expected him to be doing that. As you can see there, we're going to jump on board with P3 as he's trying to put some pressure on me. I had a little moment through that corner, so I decided to go over to the right hand side. I feel like I need to go a bit defensive, but in the end I actually had a bit of a gap as we go through the tight hairpin, and P3 Pompongu is putting some real pressure on ourselves, trying to get through these corners and get back into that slipstream. At this point I'd slightly lost that slipstream with that little error, and that's not what I wanted to do. I needed that slipstream to help me out in terms of saving fuel on the straights and to get myself closer to that Nissan. Without the slipstream it was going to be really hard to get anywhere near that Nissan again with how fast it was on the straights. This was really a bit frustrating for me because obviously P3 Pompongu is still able to get in our slipstream and use that for fuel saving, whereas I'm really struggling because I need that toe to help me defend against P3, and also for the fuel saving to get myself some sort of equal ability in the pit stops. But I was a little bit worried at this stage because I wasn't close enough to the leader's slipstream. I was really finding it hard on the straights. I found through the corners I was okay. I could really get closer to him. As you can see, I really pushed hard through that corner, trying to get again close to his slipstream. I feel like what I should have really done in this race, I know I said about doing it with the gears, but when you're racing competition like this, you need to take the fuel saving a little bit higher, because in general the real top players tend to do real extreme fuel saving. So I think possibly I should have ran two mixture through the middle sector of the track with the corners. Probably wouldn't have lost that much time at all, not even any really, if I was in the slipstream, and then it would have been smoother and we would have saved that little bit extra fuel. However, I was just trying to I was just in the mind frame of trying to get back in that slipstream. So you can see me driving reasonably hard. You can see I'm extending the gears a little bit more than what we did in the previous race, trying to rev it out a bit more, as we've got P3 who's fallen back a bit. I think he made a little bit of an error going through one of the corners, and now we've got a chance to try and get back in that slipstream. You can see we're verging on the slipstream. We're like 7-8 tenths behind. We are slightly in that slipstream, but it's not the strongest part of it. You really want to be under that half-second mark. That's where you pick up the biggest slipstream, and then you can start really aggressively short shifting. At this stage though, you can see I'm falling back a second. You can see that the speed on that Nissan GTR as it comes out of that corner, and it gains 2 tenths on me on just the acceleration and the speed. It's a really fast car, and I'm going to be really interested to trying that out. I've never tried it out, like I said, and I think I might try that car out soon, because in race conditions it looks very competitive. And people mentioned at the live finals that have they done something to the Nissan. I don't think they have. What I think it is just that people don't use it and don't know about it so much. As you can see, Zed Kip is he's clearly got speed in this race, and he's clearly saving a lot of fuel as well. So it does show you that maybe they did do a slight adjustment change on the BOP, but I don't think it was much as what people think. If you put any top driver in pretty much any of the GT3 cars, the GR Group 3 cars, you will find that a lot of them will find speed, because I've seen TRL Lightning putting up lap times in the Subaru faster than most people, and it shows you hardly anyone uses a Subaru. It's all down to the driver really. What you find is a lot of people who use a Porsche because it's an easier car to drive, and also it's fairly good on the tyres. But that Nissan in front of me, I have to say, the straight line speed of it was just incredible. So I'm going to have to try that out. As you can see again, we're just outside that slipstream, 1 second out, just got back into it there. as we go into the straights, but then as soon as the power goes down, he's pulled out of it and we're over a second away. But we've still got P3 within half a second of my car, so he's really getting the advantage of that slipstream. So it was a little bit frustrating for me, and I decided I wasn't going to pit on this lap because I really should have went a little bit more aggressive with my strategy, but I tried to play the safe route. I could see, you know, we're in a very close battle, so I wanted to play it safe and extend it till lap 8, because if you come out the pits and you come out behind, say, with how close this field was, I was thinking, what happens if you come out behind like 3 cars a lap in half a second slower to a second a lap slower, especially when you've got the new tyres on? It could really hurt your speed. So Zkip goes in for that pit stop. I decided to stay out. You can see he'd actually managed to save about 9-10% more fuel than us at this stage, 10% more so, which is pretty much a lap's worth of fuel. So he had done really well on that fuel saving. I think also the guy behind us had saved about 9%, 10% more as well. So obviously myself not being in that slipstream with the car in front and really hurt this Porsche. Obviously Nissan doesn't really need to worry about the slipstream with how fast it was in the straights, and we've got a Ascaro Indy Food behind, 1.7 seconds behind. I knew he would be doing extreme fuel saving, so it was going to be a pit stop battle with him because I knew that he would be able to put less fuel in than me because of how much he would have saved. It's pretty much a given that he's going to save fuel. Every time I've raced him, every time that I've ever come across him in any race, he's really good at saving the fuel in the first stint, and then he tends to go a little bit more aggressive on the last stint. So what he does is what I've done sometimes, to save the fuel in the first stint and then you overfill slightly on the second stint so you can go a bit more aggressive. That's how I find that he races it, and it's going to be a pit stop battle between myself and Indy Food when we come to the pit stop phase. This is a great battle though. You can see our lap times have not been anywhere near as good as they were in the first race we did. They're about 3-4 attempts a lap off, so it shows you that I have got the speed. It's just that in this race I just wasn't really able to use it. Obviously been driving a bit more defensive with P3 right behind us, and then that Nissan in front of us as well. It just kind of puts you off in the viewers. We're going to jump on board with Ascaro in the food. He's going to go in the pits. We're going to go in the pits. He has a moment in the pits as well. He nearly loses control. You can see there the car starts sliding. I don't know whether that was just a bug with the game, but you can see he's saved a lot more fuel than us. He's actually got 13-14% more fuel. So I decided to go a little bit over mine, you can see, so I can go a bit more aggressive. And we come out the pits, you can see we're pretty much identical, and this was really unfortunate. Just look how close this was. I look in front and he's just come out like inches in front of me, and then Pete, the guy who was behind me, jumps us by fractions coming out the pit. So all three of us back together, we've completely swapped positions around, and this, I really feel like maybe I should have just went just before the diamond and went a bit more aggressive with my strategy, because if I had gone out the pits maybe by underfueling very slightly, I think I would have come out ahead. Well, I'm pretty sure I would have come out ahead of it in Indy Food, and then I would have pretty much guaranteed to come out. It would have been very close between myself and Pumpunku, but I think I might have got it. So it was a little bit frustrating. You can see we're only about 6-7 tenths behind Pumpunku, so it would have been extremely close coming out that pits. But unfortunately, I didn't. I tried to go a little bit more, give myself a little bit more fuel, and it didn't quite work out. But these things happen, and it's still leading to a great race. You can see there, we've got all three of us within a second of each other. Ascaro in the food is obviously trying to put that pressure on. He wants to get past, he wants to make a move. I'm guessing he would have done something similar to me, putting that extra fuel in, as I didn't expect him. I thought I was going to come out slightly ahead even with that bit extra I put in, but maybe I should have just went to the diamond and given myself more of a chance. As you can see, we're going to ride on board with Ascaro there, looking back on myself as I'm trying to find a way past. You know, these are all three cars are the same, so if I get a slipstream, there's going to be more of a chance to make a move somewhere. As you can see there, having a little look how visually great this game looks again. I really enjoy watching this view. As you can see, going through the corner, hitting the apex, absolutely perfect there, using just up to the curb. I had a little look on the inside, realised there was no chance of making a move there, but you can see how close I'm getting, really trying to put some pressure on. I wanted to put pressure on at this stage because, you know, if we can force one of them into a mistake, I can try and make a move somewhere. But, you know, people at this level don't generally make mistakes very often. As you can see there, it's all close, and also we've got the Mitsubishi Evo closing in P5, I think it is V Cristiano, who is also a very fast driver on the game. And that Evo at this track is really fast. It's one of the fastest cars at Brands Hatch. I experienced it when I was racing in the FIA race with the Ferrari. Immense speed, that car. So I could see that in the distance, closing in very slowly. You can just see it popping in the background. So this is just a really intense battle now. We've got four cars pretty much going to be very close within a few laps. You can see us three are all driving for that P2. We want that P2. You can just see just ahead there, Z-Kip in P1, and obviously he's not fighting with anyone, so he's going to start pulling away. We're all fighting, so we're going to be generally losing time. When you're battling like this, you're looking in your mirrors, you've got to concentrate on more than one thing at a time, so you can't just concentrate on your line. So in general, you will find the lap times are going to be maybe 3-4 attempts off of what it would be if you were on your own solo. And that's what I was saying about the first stint. You compare it to the first stint that I did when I did the race the other day that I uploaded, when it was just with myself and one other guy, and he was a bit outside the slipstream. There was no real risk of him overtaking. As you can see there, Indy Food had a little moment. He looked like he went for a move and backed out of it, or he got his tyre just on the dust a bit. But this is great racing. This is why I play, GT Sport. Again, it shows you the level of driving. So far I've not seen anyone making a massive mistake. It's been clean, it's been fair, and it's just great racing to be involved with. As you can see there, going through the sector on a personal best, again, it's nothing special. My last lap was a 23.9, but that was when we were driving again behind the traffic. You could see it when we were right behind Oscaro, so I feel like there was more potential in that lap. But like I said, you can't really do much. I couldn't really drive too aggressively still, because we have been saving fuel in that first stint a little bit, but not as much as I would have liked. I think I really should have tried to do a bit more fuel saving. I actually went back and watched Indy Food, how he does his gear changes, just to check, and he is so strict on how he does it. He doesn't change his plans at all. He just changes gear dead on halfway every single gear change pretty much, and yeah, it shows you how committed he was to just sticking to a plan, and it worked out for him in that pit stop as he gained the places. He can have a little look on Pom Pom Q. At this stage I could see I was a little bit back, and I was thinking, do I go aggressive here and try and use some fuel and get really close to him, or do I just hang back a bit? So I was kind of thinking it's probably best just to hang back. If one of them makes a mistake, I'm going to be able to capitalise on it and maybe get an extra place. P3 in this race would be a very good result. Big players in this race, very strong drivers, and it's pretty much like an FIA race. I've had FIA races with less competition in than this, so it really does show. The daily races seem to have been picking up a lot recently on certain combinations at certain times of the day, and there's been some really extremely high ranked players in these daily races. So you can see, considering that some people there qualified on a 23.1 and they were down in like 13th, 14th position, shows you the strength of the grid in this race. And again, we're going through on a blue sector, so we're starting to get some consistency in this race now. We're doing reasonably similar lap times at this part now, but again, I was just trying to see if anyone would make a mistake, trying to see where anyone was weak. I'm just trying to analyse the situation. There's not much I can really do at this point. Brands Hatch is a difficult track to overtake, and that's why I wish I would have gone more aggressive on the strategy, because if I would have got myself into that, cut that pit stop down by maybe a second, I could have been in P2 and just manage the fuel to the end like we did in the other race. Overtaking it is really hard. You can see I thought Indy Food had an issue there and gone wide, but he hadn't. It was just a server issue with his connection. He reappeared in front of me, so that wasn't a move that we had made, and it wasn't a mistake by him. As you can see there, V Cristiano still around 2.3 seconds behind. You can see him just appearing in the background. He's slowly gaining in us. We're obviously all battling away, so we're not putting in the amazing lap times that we really should be at this point. We should have really been in like 23.4s and 5s, but we can't really do that when we're battling like this. This is intense racing. One little slip up by pushing too hard, and you're going to give the race away. So this is really fun to be involved with again, and I hope it comes across like this on the video, because this was amazing to be involved with this race. I love it when you go in these lobbies and you've got so many good races in the lobby, because it not only, especially these people that you're racing with quite often now, and I'm coming across these drivers fairly often now, and you can start getting trust in them, and I think when you trust the driver near you, it makes the racing a lot better, because they're not going to make stupid moves or like dangerous moves. Although there is a move that you're going to come across in a few laps which is it's a hard one, but we'll talk about that when it happens. As you can see there, P4 getting very close. You can see him closing in. I think he was getting the gap very close to being under 2 seconds. You can see there, just look how hard he was pushing, nearly losing control on that curb as he puts the power down and trying to get as close as he can to this battle that is approaching the end of the race now. You know, we're getting to the last few laps. As you can see there, Ascara in the food having a little look on the inside. I'm just, as you can see, I'm just literally holding back and just thinking, when do I try and get involved with this? I could see they made a little mistake there, so I got really close. I actually had a look up the inside there as I seen an opportunity and decided it wasn't worth the risk to throw the car up the inside there. It would have probably ended in disaster, so I decided to back out, get myself back on the normal racing line, and then just try and think where I can make this move somewhere else. As you can see, really trying to concentrate now, because I could see that Mitsubishi Evo is catching really fast, and we're on, I think this is possibly the final lap now, going up the back straight. You can see Ascara in the food having a look down this straight. It's getting really close. This is the final lap now of this race, and you can see how close it's got. Everyone is within, you know, a second and a bit of each other. As Oscar, he has to go defensive, Pumpunku into that corner. Oscar in the food is going to have a little look now. You're going to see him pull out to make a move now. He's going to go for that move, and let's have a little look. There's some sort of contact, and I just went for it. I just saw that there. I saw a mistake, there was something that happened, and I just went for the move. So let's go back and have a little watch at Oscara's move. Now this is what has been brought into question. Pumpunku wasn't very happy with it, and I can see why, but the door was open and I could see it kind of looked like is a hard one. I think he had the right for them to make that move, and it wasn't really that dirty. It was only very tiniest amount of contact, but they both picked up penalties for that. So let's have a look from my view. I see the incident, I stayed to the inside and just decided to go for that. There was a bit of contact from myself as well with Pumpunku, but I had no real option. If I would have backed out of that, I would have had V. Cristiano overtaking me. As you can see, he also overtook Pumpunku, so unfortunate for him. He'd gone from P2 to P5, so really unfortunate for him. But this is racing, you know, you've got to take your opportunities, and I saw an opportunity there, and now we've got Ascaro coming to the finishing line. He's got a penalty, so I know that I'm going to be able to pretty much overtake him, because it all depends on the penalty he's got. I think it was quite a high penalty though, as he starts braking really early. So I take P2, and luckily we get that P2 back after what happened there. So a little bit of controversy at the end, but luckily I get back to P2 in the race. You can see the leader's time was basically of 19:53, 19 minutes and 52.9. Comparing that to my other race, I did a 56.8, I think it was, in the other race. So we would have been about 3.5 seconds behind, something like 3.5, 4 seconds behind, about 3 seconds behind, if we would have maintained that pace. So we wouldn't have been able to beat him, I think, even if I had really good pace there, but we would have been much closer than what we ended up in that race. But still, that battling on the last lap, I think, lost us a bit of time, but it was great battling, and I thoroughly enjoyed that race, and I hope everyone else enjoyed that race. I have to say, when I was involved with that, I was literally shaking at one point, because I thought you can't make a mistake, you just got to keep it on the road, and that was really fun to be involved with. So if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click that notification button so you don't miss any future videos. We're uploading every single day on GT Sport, sometimes more than once. You know, sometimes I'll do the track guides as well to help everyone out in the FIA events or daily races. So make sure you click that like button also if you did enjoy that video. I really do like seeing these likes going up. I'm getting so much good support on this channel. It's really good to see. So thank you again to everyone that watches these videos.